Welcome to Daily Pulse, where we keep your finger on the pulse of the latest breaking news and the news they're keeping from you. Brought to you by the Vigilant Fox and Zeee Media. I'm your host, Maria Zeee. Tonight, BlackRock's Larry Fink is in at the World Economic Forum. Is the Russia-Ukraine war really nearing an end? And belief in God is tripling amongst British youth. Let's get into the Daily Pulse. The World Economic Forum, a globalist circus notorious for shoving woke, green-obsessed policies down the world's throat and orchestrating a lockstep approach from governments worldwide for the destruction of the world, herds elites and bureaucrats to plot their next moves. Its mastermind, Klaus Schwab, just got the boot, or retired, following accusations of sexual harassment and other inappropriate behaviours. Imagine. Now, the WEF has tapped two new overlords to keep their dystopian show running. And apparently, in the process of appointing Larry Fink from BlackRock as the new co-chair, they've also alleged that there was no misconduct found in Klaus Schwab. Okay. The World Economic Forum has elected BlackRock CEO Larry Fink and Roche Holding Vice Chair Hoffman to serve as interim co-chairs of its board. Last Friday, the WEF announced that the investigation into Klaus Schwab had reportedly found no misconduct by the former chairman and founder. In the same press release, the globalist organization also announced Fink and Hoffman as new interim leaders. Now, Schwab was under investigation in April after a whistleblower alleged financial impropriety and behavioral issues, which we just mentioned to you. The 87-year-old Schwab had already resigned from his position as chairman of the board shortly before the investigation was launched. Minor irregularities stemming from blurred lines between personal contributions and forum operations reflect deep commitment rather than intent of misconduct, the WEF stated in regard to the allegations made against Klaus Schwab and his wife, Hildy. Following a thorough review of all the facts, the board has concluded that while the organization must evolve toward a more institutional model, there is no evidence of material wrongdoing by Klaus Schwab, the organization concluded. So who better to appoint now that the WEF has investigated itself and found that everything is just fine than someone like Larry Fink, who says we have to force behaviors in order to achieve the goals of the bankers and self-proclaimed elites. Take a listen.
You now make a point of that's an investment criteria for you.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year, and what we are doing internally is if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted. Okay,
we're doing the same thing.
And so it's just you have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not recruiting, it is development, as Ken said. And ultimately, it's still going to take time, but I am just as much shocked as Ken is that we have not seen more opportunities. And we're going to have to force change.
Larry Fink and his BlackRock empire, the poster boys of cutthroat capitalism, now steering the World Economic Forum, and we highly doubt his ideology of forcing behaviours that have led to disastrous DEI policies and the green agenda push worldwide have changed. Known for sinking their claws into virtually every major company, bank, and property deal globally, BlackRock's private equity and venture capital moves have turned markets into their personal playground. Remember our recent expose on their build-to-rent scheme? It's BlackRock and their cronies pricing out regular folks, chaining them to a lifetime of renting with zero shot at ever owning a home. Fink sliding into the WEF's leadership with its chilling "you'll own nothing and be happy" mantra feels like the final nail in the coffin for individual freedom. But someone we haven't heard as much about is the other co-chair, Hoffman. According to Wikipedia, Hoffman is a Swiss billionaire and businessman, environmentalist, and philanthropist. Gosh, he sounds just like Bill Gates. The great-grandson of Fritz Hoffman Roche, who founded the drug company Roche Holding in 1896. We'll talk about that in a moment. He's currently the vice chairman of the company. As of November 2020, his estimated net worth is over US $5 billion. As a philanthropist, he's been an advocate for sustainability and environmental protection, serving as international vice president of the Worldwide Fund for Nature, or WWF, from 2007 till 2017. He's also been on the boards of Wetlands International, the global non-profit organization dedicated to the conservation and restoration of wetland ecosystems. Now, I will say here that I don't know about that organization specifically, but generally when you dig into these environmentalists and protecting ecosystem organizations, what it actually is a land grab and an aim to make that land restricted for human use. We go on. It also says that in 1991, Hoffman joined Nestle UK. 3 years later, he established a family office specialized in wealth management. Nestle, of course, or its former North American bottled water division, now Blue Triton Brands, if you missed our previous reporting on this, has faced significant criticism for extracting large amounts of water for bottling in regions experiencing drought or water scarcity. Examples include California, where complaints of depleted water resources in the San Bernardino National Forest led to a draft cease and desist order from the California Water Resources Control Board, and Michigan, where residents have protested increased pumping from a rural well, according to EcoWatch. Some environmentalists, these people are. As far as his connection with Roche goes, this is the absolute definition of venture capitalism and private equity meets big pharma. According to Wikipedia, Roche was founded in 1896 by Fritz Hoffman Roche. The company was known early on for producing various vitamin preparations and derivatives. And during the Second World War, Roche collaborated with the Nazi regime in Germany and used forced labor in its German and Polish-based factories. Roche has a super extensive list of corporate takeovers and buyouts worth billions and billions of dollars, and the company is also not immune from controversy. In fact, on the Wikipedia page, it shows us a price-fixing conspiracy as an example of that. Stanley Adams, Roche's world product manager in Basel, contacted the European Economic Community in 1973 with evidence that Roche had been breaking antitrust laws, engaging in price-fixing and market sharing for vitamins with its competitors. Roche was fined accordingly, but a bungle on the part of the EEC allowed the company to discover that it was Adams who'd blown the whistle. He was then arrested for unauthorized disclosure, which is an offense under Swiss law, and imprisoned. His wife, having learned that he might face decades in jail, committed suicide. In 1999, the firm pleaded guilty to participation in a worldwide conspiracy to raise and fix prices for vitamins sold in the US and globally. Hoffman Roche paid $500 million in criminal fines to the United States. So, much like Pfizer, huge fines, nowhere near the money they actually make, and they continue to operate despite this criminal behavior. And governments let them. If you or me acted in this manner, we'd be behind bars for life, and our family name would be tarnished forever. Our descendants would be shunned by society for generations. But not these guys. So why are we telling you all of this? Well, these people that sit atop up there with the self-proclaimed elites who determine how we should live, how the climate should be manipulated, what we should be able to own or not own, and whether we should be happy about it. These people are the definition of globalists. They are not like us. They've never lived like us. They've never gone paycheck to paycheck. They've never worked a hard day in their life using their hands, working a farm, physically building anything. But they're able to continue, somehow, running the entire world and dictating what's best for us and how they're going to force our behaviors to comply with what they've decided sitting in their ivory towers. And they do this, for the most part, in secret. And we only find out after every single government worldwide implements their policies in lockstep without the consent of the people who apparently elected them. Our point here is that nothing has changed. The old guard is still there with some new faces, but the goals of Agenda 2030 haven't moved one iota. Just like you can't shut down the WHO, it's unlikely you'll shut down the World Economic Forum, but even if you did, You'd still have the Club of Rome, Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberger, Masonic elites, and many other secret organizations around the world that we've never even heard of. In 2025, what seems clear is that there are some responses to the people and that they are listening to the people somewhat. There have been many cases where uproar on the internet and on X and other social media platforms have sparked change. Make your voices heard and pay attention to any elected representatives that are pushing the agendas of these organizations. Do not let them get away with it. There are things that you can do to keep yourself fit, healthy, and protected in this world where it seems like attacks on our health come from all sides. Take charge of your health with the Energetic Health Institute, giving you the tools to lead a healthier, more balanced life, brought to you by Dr. Henry Ealy and doctors just like him. True healers and physicians who are making people well successfully outside of Big Pharma. Visit myehialoha.org/#VFox and join their live conferences, virtual solutions summit, engaging Q&A sessions with their first-class, heart-centered professionals, and access all past event replays anytime, anywhere. You can also join the Healing for the Ages community led by Drs. Brian Ardis, Ed Group, Henry Ealy, and Jana Schmidt, and become part of a movement dedicated to building a healthier future where health and healing come first. All of these invaluable resources are a whopping 30% off when you use code VFOX. Again, that link is myehialoha.org/#VFox with promo code VFOX for 30% off. This in from the New York Post today. Putin and Zelensky could meet within the next 2 weeks thanks to Trump's attempts to end the brutal war. This is according to German Chancellor Merz. Putin agreed to the potential meeting, which would take place at a location to be determined, during a phone call with the president on Monday, said Merz, who was among a delegation of European leaders who met with Trump and Zelensky in Washington to pledge their support for Ukraine. During a break in the discussions, Trump called Putin, who agreed that there would be a meeting between the Russian president and the Ukrainian president, former comedian, within the next 2 weeks, Merz told reporters. It goes on that Trump proposed such a meeting so that peace negotiations could truly begin 3.5 years since Russia's what they call full-scale invasion of Ukraine. We don't know whether the Russian president will have the courage to attend such a summit. Therefore, persuasion is needed, said Merz. Trump said after Monday's discussions that he was very happy with the progress being made toward ending the bloodshed in Ukraine following his Alaska summit with Putin on Friday. Everyone is happy about the possibility of peace for Russia-Ukraine, Trump posted on social media after nearly 6 hours of talks. Trump also confirmed that he spoke to Putin on the phone and said that after the two warring leaders sit down for one-on-one talks, he would join them at a different time for trilateral discussions. Again, this was a very good early step for a war that has been going on for almost 4 years, the president added on Truth Social. The White House meeting included the leaders of the European Commission, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, NATO, and the United Kingdom, who, with those nations expected to put up the bulk of peacekeeping forces following a possible peace agreement as a de facto security guarantee for Ukraine. Now, we've highlighted to you before that a lot of this is rhetoric and that much of Europe isn't actually serious about peace. This in just today from Disclose. NZZ editor and former spokesperson for Heckler & Koch says Germans must be forced into military service to potentially defend the freedom in Europe. If necessary, Germans must be forced into military service. So we're not really sure how calls for forced military service in Germany, multiple countries discussing reinstituting drafts and war talk really square up with this supposed commitment to peace. Also in from Disclose today, according to Iran International, top Iranian military advisor warns Ayatollah Khamenei that the Israel-Iran war could resume at any point. We are not in a ceasefire, we are in a stage of war. I think another war may happen, and after that, there may be no more wars. We also have this in today from the Korea Herald. Kim vows rapid nuclear buildup rebuffs Seoul's outreach. It says North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Monday called for a rapid expansion of nuclearization and denounced regular military exercises by South Korea and the US as a clear display of, quote, most hostile and confrontational intent toward Pyongyang. Whilst Trump is definitely actively pursuing peace in Russia-Ukraine, there are still boiling points around the world. We see European leaders flip-flopping on their messaging. One second they want peace, the next second they want war. One second they want de-escalation, the next second they're preparing their populations for drafts and imminent wartime. It's a multifaceted geopolitical landscape with tensions worldwide, and certainly we have not seen the last of it in the Middle East. We will keep you updated and hope to see cooler heads prevail with de-escalation and peace. Are you protected in a world where threats of EMPs, solar flares, 5G, and all types of EMF are interfering with our very existence? Escape the grid with Escape Zone, bringing you the highest quality Faraday technology for ultimate preparedness. Choose when and where your devices are detectable. Faraday bags protect you from EMPs, car theft, card and device skimming, identity theft, tracking, Bluetooth, and GPS. Choose from premium mobile Faraday bags, crossbody bags, laptop bags, and even women's handbags, or opt for the optimum protection with a ballistic backpack, combining cutting-edge Faraday technology with a ballistic 3A Kevlar for the ultimate protection and preparedness. Now you can also protect from EMF with their top-notch EMF beanies and blankets, shielding you from some of the most harmful frequencies in our environment. Whatever your needs are, Escape Zone has you covered, and their range is perfect for personal use, family use, or even as a gift for someone you truly care about. Visit escapezone.com/pulse and protect you and your loved ones today. That's escapezone.com/pulse. The COVID era brought a lot of destruction upon people, and that destruction hasn't really eased. And while the self-proclaimed world overlords are rubbing their grubby hands together thinking they've achieved sweet, sweet victory, what's actually happening is the opposite of their true goal, being the destruction of Christianity specifically, and instead, people are flocking to Christianity in record numbers. And this is actually especially true for the youth. Christian revival belief in God triples among 18 to 24-year-old Britons. The article says Christianity is experiencing a revival among young people in Britain, with the number of 18 to 24-year-olds believing in God increasing by nearly 200% since 2021. After decades of Christianity declining in Britain, falling to such an extent that the 2021 census found that Christians had become a minority in England and Wales amid the rise of atheism and Islam, there appears to be an indication of a trend reversal and possible revival of the faith in the United Kingdom. According to YouGov's tracker of religious belief, conducted twice per year, the number of 18 to 24-year-olds professing belief in God rose from 16% in August of 2021 to a whopping 45% as of January this year, representing a 181% increase in just 3.5 years, GB News reported. A smaller but still significant increase was also registered among those aged between 25 and 49 years old, with the tracker recording a jump from 21% in 2021 to 33% in 2025. This has coincided with a 56% rise in those who attend church at least once a month between 2018 and 2024, with the number of regular churchgoers increasing from 3.7 million to 5.8 million. The increase was largely a result of growing attendance from younger men, with just 1 in 25 attending in 2018 compared to 1 in 5 in 2024. However, there was also an increase among young women, rising from 3% to 12% over the same time period. It means that the 18 to 24-year-old cohort is now the second most likely age group to attend church every month. A Lancastrian priest, Father Damien Feeney, is quoted in the article stating he believes the growing number of young people interested in the faith comes from a need for structure, shape, and routine in their life, and a desire for stability at a time when otherwise life can seem destabilized, referencing also that youth appear to be drawn to tradition and liturgical worship, the spur coming largely from secularism, uncertainty, or global challenges. The article also discusses the decline of interest in the Anglican Church specifically, which appears to coincide with the former Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, pushing woke ideology in an apparent attempt to court young people. As the saying goes, go woke, go broke. Churches are not exempt from that rule. This rise in Christianity is partly attributed to the internet and social media. With many influencers out there, Christian channels of all denominations. We see this growing every day with major internet personalities, celebrities, and the likes, such as Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Russell Brand, even Kat Von D's conversion to orthodoxy, and so on. As global crises, economic turmoil, geopolitical conflicts, and regime changes in the Middle East intensify, many people are finding solace in faith amid a world that feels like it's unraveling. This shift also is partly driven by the remarkable alignment of current events with ancient prophecies, as given by Christian saints, interpreted by theologians, priests, and scholars, with some of these prophecies written centuries ago, appearing to predict these upheavals with striking precision, even naming specific places or figures in some cases, leaving believers and observers alike stunned as they witness these events unfold almost word for word. So why the youth specifically? Well, in a world where they have been propagandized through educational institutions to the point of what seems to be no return, the fact remains that they have enough sense to see that something is missing and something is very wrong with the world and what they've been taught about it. Instead of turning to man-made technological advancements to fill that void, or empty New Age Gnostic belief systems that, as you dig in deeper, really do reveal a message that usually aligns more with globalism, the Green New Agenda, aka Mother Earth, One World Religion, and even Satanism, rather than salvation. They're returning to Christ-centeredness and spiritual rebirth, faith, love and hope, sanctification and deification, also known as theosis, living in the church rather than just attending a show of sorts on a Sunday and then applying this to their daily lives. Even this movement that we're seeing, that we're discussing in this very report, was prophesied many years ago. This return to Christianity will only grow, exponentially at that. Look into it. Seek tradition. It's what built Western civilization, the greatest civilization known to man. In closing, the world's overlords would love for nothing more than to demoralize us, secularize us, and prepare us for their one world ruler. Instead, the people are returning to Jesus Christ. In his revealing book, The Bible and Gold, author Alan Armstrong examines a troubling truth. Our modern monetary system directly contradicts biblical finance principles of honest weights and measures. Gold isn't just a metal, Armstrong writes. It's God's testimony in the ground that truth is weighty, value is real, and justice is measurable. Genesis Gold Group has built their entire approach to retirement protection on these same timeless principles. While central banks print trillions from nothing, gold remains what God declared it to be in Genesis. Good. Armstrong's exploration of gold and sound money couldn't be more timely. From the tabernacle to Solomon's temple to the streets of New Jerusalem, Scripture consistently presents gold as God's standard of honest value. Genesis Gold Group's faith-driven experts help you transform vulnerable retirement accounts into physical precious metals. Not paper promises, but tangible wealth that preserves purchasing power against the very devaluation Armstrong diagnoses. Why trust your family's future to a system built on monetary deception when there's a biblical alternative? Visit goldbiblepulse.com today for your free copy of The Bible and Gold and schedule a consultation to align your retirement strategy with God's principles of honest money. That's goldbiblepulse.com. Honest money for uncertain times. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We are very grateful to all of our viewers and supporters of this show. We air every single weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we plan on continuing to bring you the latest breaking news and the news they're keeping from you. We're backed by you, the viewer. That way we can always tell you the truth, no holds barred. The way to support us to stay independent is by shopping directly with our sponsors who make this show possible. Their links are in the description below. Make sure to follow Vigilant Fox on X at Vigilant Fox, as well as Substack to stay up to date with the latest breaking news. Follow Zeee Media on Rumble, where we also air this show each weekday and post our other deep dives. Follow at ZEE_media on X, and as always, all of our content is also on zeemedia.com. Join us every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tell everyone about it, and as always, keep your finger on the pulse with the Daily Pulse. Good night.